Welcome to yet another episode of A World in a Word. We all use words to communicate, to express our dreams, our desires, our joys, and our sorrows. And words are what we are all about, whether spoken or written. And here we are with Mansi Thakkar, graphology expert, who's going to tell us about the words we write and tell us more about ourselves. Mansi, welcome back to A World in a Word podcast.
Thank you, Sonie.
In the previous episode, you also shared about tendencies towards introverts. Now, sometimes I wonder whether labels are a good idea. It's not just black and white, isn't it? We are full of so many other colors. We are full of grays and shades of gray and yellows and blues and pinks and all shades of human emotions and human experiences. So, how does one go about diagnosing an introvert, which you have already shared, but how do you go about helping and how can they make use of this understanding and this therapy to improve their relationships in different aspects of their lives?
Yes, Sonie, what you're saying is right, that we label the people a lot about how they behave in public. If we talk about introverts are somebody, like the word as it suggests, that they are internal. When they are internal, that means they are not able to express. And mind me, I'm using the words they are not able to. It's not that they don't want to. A trait which they have developed probably at a very early age of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, where certain situations were happening in their life and they were not able to or given a space or a chance to express themselves. So over a period of time, they forgot or they don't know how to express in a certain situation. So when it's even at a very happy occasion or a sad occasion, for them it is very difficult to express what they really feel. That doesn't mean they are not feeling happy or they are not feeling sad. They feel equally like any other person, like they cannot express it. So when they're entering a party, a normal person or an extrovert, what we call, will be the first person to go and greet the host or go and talk to everybody, while an introvert would take its time to open up. It needs that comfort zone and probably they will speak to few people. So then we start labeling them as either a fearful person or a person who is snobbish. Depending on the other traits which they have, they would be very confident, the way they project themselves and all, the way they walk. So we label them as snobbish probably. Or if they have a very timid other aspect or trait, then we will say, oh, they are fearful or they are unconfident. And that's how we start labeling. But it is more about not able to because they don't know how to. So if we talk about how we can help them, if they are young adults, say in a teenage or 2025, so for them the situation is much more closer to, they are much more closer to their childhood and they are made aware that this is the trait, this is the way that is seen in left slant writing. So let's look at the screen and see how that writing goes. So if people even have a little bit of a left slant writing, these people are definitely people who cannot express. So if they are younger generation with conscious writing and making it towards a little more straighter, they can improve on how they can start expressing at least bit by bit. Now, if we talk about elders as in plus 30, 35, 40, so for them, this trait development or this personality development was like way years ahead. So it takes time for them to change, because like if you, some traits or some habits are very old, it takes time to overcome them. And this is something that you've grown over at that age. So obviously at a certain age, with a certain situation, you are working and all, the world has taught you. So you are already making a conscious effort. But even if it is with relationships, where you tend to take a back seat of being the way you are, but then it does affect a relationship. So there also you need to take a conscious effort with therapy. It may take a little more longer time to overcome this, but it definitely works.
And it's not just the individual. There are situations that we have all faced through life from our childhood. तो चाहे cultural influence हो या चाहे आपका family या friend circle हो, कुछ ना कुछ तो आप करता ही होगा.
Yeah, definitely. An introvert person is basically a person at that age, in the age group of 4, 5, when the formative years were happening. You felt no space to be able to express. You were curtailed or you were not given a chance to express. So you didn't know how to express happiness or sadness. So if you remember the episode of Dear Zindagi, where Shah Rukh Khan actually talks about that from बचपन we were told always रो मत, गुस्सा मत करो, ये मत करो, वो मत करो. तो जब हंसने की बारी आई या प्यार करने की बारी आई, वो भी तो पता नहीं है कैसे करना है. So वो पता ही नहीं कैसे करना है. So those were the situations where a child was being raised. So just doesn't know how to express. And we label them as introvert, because a person who is able to or got a very open situation or open surrounding where he could express, he labels the other one who didn't get a space to express. So we label them as introverts or snobbish or whatever you call them. But it is more about with conscious decision. So if we are in a corporate setting or a corporate world, we do learn how to at least talk or express whatever is needed. The world teaches you. But in a relationship also, if your partner, your spouse is somebody who's very expressive, he will continuously have this thing that, oh, my partner never expresses, and it could start creating rifts. Even in a parent-child relationship, if the parents are quite open and expressive, or over a period of time, the relatives start saying, oh, your child never speaks when we come around, or he doesn't even wish us, and the parent will start shouting, oh, why aren't you so open about it, or why don't you speak to your aunties and uncles? And the child even starts thinking, but how do I talk? What do I talk? I really don't know. This starts making probably the child more underconfident that there is something wrong with me. That is how we do an open space where a child, whatever, because as a child you don't know what is right or wrong. So in some cultures, in some communities, in some parts of the world, it's like, oh, you shouldn't laugh loudly, you shouldn't cry loudly, you shouldn't get angry, you shouldn't talk loudly. So this all, if it is told from day one when the child is growing up, probably they will never learn how to react.
So much of our personality depends on our relationships.
Yeah.
So people shape people, and
Yes.
our relationships shape us and the way we look at the world. But if we take this just one step further, कोई एक strict outline तो नहीं है कि इसको introvert बोलते हैं. Things are relative, isn't it?
Everything is relative. So it's about the perspective of the person, that how did they take the situations. So if I say that two kids growing up together in the same household, maybe just 2 or 3 years of gap, one child would be an extrovert and one child would be an introvert. So it's not always about the situations, but how the child also perceives the situation.
And things can change as they grow.
Definitely, yes, they can change.
तो चाहे हमारे जो व्यूअर्स हैं या सुनने वाले हैं, अगर वो ये सुन रहे हैं, तो ऐसा नहीं कि अभी मुझे लोगों ने इंट्रोवर्ट कह दिया तो मैं अभी यहाँ फंसा हूँ या फंसी हूँ और इससे मैं बदल नहीं सकती हूँ. मेरी ज़िंदगी का जो मेरी डेस्टिनी है या मेरा जो बिहेवियर है, मेरे रिलेशनशिप्स हैं, वो सुधर नहीं सकते क्योंकि मैं इंट्रोवर्ट हूँ. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. इट्स ऑल अबाउट कि कितना एफर्ट आप डालना चाहते हो ये अचीव करने के लिए. बिकॉज ज़्यादातर ऐसा होता है कि वी वांट दिस कंफर्ट जोन, वी आर सो कंफर्टेबल इन दिस सिचुएशन, इन दैट कंफर्ट जोन. बिकॉज बीइंग एन इंट्रोवर्ट और बीइंग अ पर्सन हु इज़ नॉट एबल टू एक्सप्रेस, पीपल हैव गेन्ड अ लॉट. सो दे आर वेरी हैप्पी बीइंग दैट ऑल्सो. If they are not happy or they are not getting the results, then obviously they will change.
So can we give one tip to the introvert using the same sample that we have? How an introvert whose sample is there, how can this person help him?
If you see the sample, it is like the writing is going left slant. So you have to take an effort to at least make it straight. If you talk logically, somebody who is bending backwards, they need to at least get a little straight. So imagine somebody who walks in and is like that, it's not open. But when they get a little straight, you are a little open to do something, talk something, or express something. So it's something like that.
So एक छोटा सा प्रयास तो कर सकते हैं.
Definitely.
And do a kind of daily practice, and definitely the attitude or the way you look at the world will change, and the way you conduct yourself will change. But you were also saying that it's not strictly graphology alone that can help you. There is so much more to the human mind and the human spirit. Graphology is one of the solutions or one of the methodologies or modalities which you can use to help yourself, isn't it?
Right, of course. So there are so many modalities. Main reason or main thing that we all want is happiness. So to reach happiness, there are so many other ways. So graphology definitely has both the aspects, diagnosis as well as therapy, or solutions if we call them, and not a therapy. So diagnosis and solution together helps you. But there has to be a very, very strong conscious effort of what you really want to do. It's not going to be that, okay, somebody comes and tells you, okay, take the pill and it'll be sorted. If you are not ready for that change with your own free will, it will not work. It will start showing up somewhere else.
Absolutely. And also the tip that we just shared was just one tip.
Yeah.
There is so much more
that goes
into it. There's no one-stop solution to everything. There might be other factors. और भी काफ़ी influences है हमारी लाइफ में जो हमको जब ज़रूरत है या हमको कोई ऐसी मानसिक अगर कोई इश्यूज हैं तो वो तो अलग तरीके से उसको डील करना चाहिए. We've learned a lot about introverts today. We've got a general overview and we've also got some tips on the handwriting sample that Mansi shared with us. But if you think that you'd like to help somebody else, maybe a family member, a close friend, or you would like to connect with Mansi yourself, her contact details are in the description. And you can also check out her website, mansikthakkar.com. Do join us for the next episode on Extroverts. And with that, it's Sonie Thakkar saying thank you from a World in a Word podcast.